All right, let's see. Let's see if we can figure out if we're live or not. We are. Hey everybody, good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's see if I can do this here. I'm not sure if I can. We're gonna try it. Okay, just wait. This is where my technical skills get a little spotty. I'll have to wait. Can I figure this out? Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. It's my theme song. This is trying to organize myself here.
You're listening to A Daily Dose of Hope. Healthy stuff so you can keep on trucking with Hope Zvara.
All right, there we go. That was pretty awesome. Maybe you could have heard that, I'm not sure. Just trying to figure out why my Facebook app keeps on closing on me so I can see you guys and see your comments. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope Zvara here, Chrome and Steel Radio with A Daily Dose of Hope show. It's Thursday. You know, I got to be honest with you, Thursdays have never really been a spectacular day for me. It's just another day. But Thursdays are pretty great because I get to come live with all of you and chat and share a little dose of hope, maybe to help even out the rough edges of everything in the media and everyone else that's talking about all things trucking, which is great. But sometimes we need a little shift of focus and attention to open us up to some new things, sometimes better things, sometimes new and different ways of looking at things. I think we all need that. I know for me, I look at so many different aspects of my life. That's one thing. It's one thing I will say. I have a lot of things I have to work on in my life. I'm just checking the Facebook app here, see if I can get on Chrome and Steel now. And can I? Nope, still won't let me. All right, we're gonna have to use the page here. There's one thing that I will say I have gotten better at, and it is admitting my shortcomings and admitting when I am not good at something or I don't know something, and that was not always the case. Maybe you can relate. I was a ticking time bomb walking around and just kind of waiting to explode, because I was taught that you don't express yourself and that you don't share how you feel. And although that might be a little squishy for you, the reality is emotions are real. Thoughts are real in a sense. They're real to the person thinking them. And what do we do? What do we do with what we're feeling inside of us? What do we do with the thoughts that we have? What do we do with the perspective that we have? What do we do with our viewpoints on X, Y, and Z? Like, what do we do with all of that? That's the question I have, or I had. And I think that's the question a lot of people have, but don't know that they have. Because if we knew we had this question and we knew what to do with it, I don't think people would be spewing their mouth off on social media about things just crazily. And I think maybe we all would be a little bit kinder to each other. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my viewpoint at all. And that's not to say that things that happen aren't justified. And when people are angry, that's not real. I mean, I get upset. I got crap going on in my life. You know, I was at my coffee shop having coffee with a friend yesterday, my only friend from high school at least. And I got to share this with you guys because it was an awesome quote. I shared it on my Instagram page and I want to read it. It says, "People are oceans and you cannot know them by their surface," which kind of goes with today's conversation because it's about managing your emotions, feeling your feelings. I know that's like, oh, why are we talking about this? So boring, click off, right? But I don't want you to. And how to navigate through this thing we call life. How to navigate through it. And despite the shitstorm that might be coming at us, because man, I've had a lot of them, I just don't wear them on my sleeve. The reality is we have the tools. We already have the tools within us to do something about those things. We already have the tools within us. We just have to learn how to tap into them. We just have to learn which one to pick up when and how to use it. That's it. That's it. I look back at my own life, and in some, many of you know that I had a lot of mental health challenges and a lot of addiction issues and anxiety, depression, you name it. Like, I was the poster child for mental health issues. And I chose the latter. I chose to do a lot of deep inner work to figure out why and how to get through those things, which it was a long journey. I never tell people that I don't believe in quick fixes. But one thing I learned, one thing really important thing is you can't feel, then you can't heal. And as cliche as that might sound, as girly as that might sound, whatever you want to say, there's a lot of truth to that. Because how can you work through something if you don't know what it is that you're working through? And today I wanted to talk a little bit about mindfulness, meditation, shifting perspective. I mean, have you ever gone out and looked at a sunrise or a sunset? Maybe you've been driving and you look out and you're on the highway and you look at the sunrise from one side of the road or going one direction. And it's like, wow, that's beautiful. Look at this, 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 and this. Like, the horizon is beautiful. Maybe it's mountains, maybe it's whatever. And then you see that same sunrise, maybe a different day. So it's not exactly the same, but you're with me. And you see it go in a different direction from a different angle at a slightly different time. And you're like, huh, I never noticed that. That looks different, or it's not as beautiful as it was yesterday, or it's more beautiful. My point is perspective can help us gain better control over a life or a situation or an experience or an emotion or a thought, whatever it is that we feel like we may not have control over. Perspective is the difference between ignorance and applying. And what I mean by applying is actually applying yourself to whatever it is in front of you. Using your tools, stepping into the situation, walking through the shitstorm, whatever it is. Without perspective, we don't see what we need to change. There's a lot, in my experience, there is a lot of ego. In yoga, we call it amkara. There's a lot of ego that surrounds the inability to have perspective. Ego is just another fancy word for being afraid, for fear, keeping things at bay. And so how is it that despite everything that's around us, maybe even despite some of the things that are within us, we can stop, we can breathe, and we can be present? See, everyone else, I mean, there's times and places where it's like, keep moving forward, don't stop. And yes, that's super important. You should move forward. You should keep your eyes on the prize. You should keep looking to the horizon. But you should also start to gain an awareness, a perspective on what it means and how it is to stay in the moment where you are. And hey, Robert, thanks for tuning in. Good morning. If you're tuning in, Daily Dose of Hope here, Hope Zvara. Drop it in the comment section. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Where are you coming from? Where are you going? Robert says, the shitstorm, I would take a shitstorm at this point. Well, all right. Well, you get what you get, but how do we deal with it? So good morning. Drop it in the comment section where you're tuning in from, and drop it in the comment section if you're coming to me live this morning or if you're watching the replay. If you're watching the replay, let me know. I always like to know because I do come back and I read the comments and I reply back. I'm not like that. I'm not going to leave yourself hanging or leave you guys hanging. I like to engage. But we're talking about mindfulness this morning. And in particular, we're talking about this idea of shifting our focus and shifting our attention to what is right now and into a lane that is going to help us evolve and grow and give us perspective. I don't know about you, but I get in these bouts where I kind of like my sob story. It's like we like our struggle because it's comfortable and it's familiar, and struggle stories like that tend to get more attention. And when we feel alone, or we feel like we're not being acknowledged, or we feel confused or lost, like we want that connection somehow, some way. And what I've discovered, thank you yoga, thank you meditation, thank you just a lot of the things I've been adapting to my own life and my own struggles for the last 20 years. The more we can get inside, get quiet, go and discover here, we have a better life out here. And so what does mindfulness actually mean? I think a lot of people are scared of the idea of mindfulness. I know some pretty rough and tough people, and you say yoga and they laugh at me and they make some macho comment about how it's not for them. And newsflash, if you're listening, you're the very people that may need yoga the most. It's be it for back pain or carpal tunnel or tight calves or sleep issues or your own mental health. Yoga is not a scary thing. It's not a girly thing. Mindfulness is equally not that. And so when we are mindful, it's simply the act of paying attention. But more importantly, it's paying attention to not just what's around us, which is sometimes the easier practice. It's like, oh, I'm driving my car. I'm putting my seatbelt on. I'm now gripping the steering wheel. I'm paying attention to the road in front of me. I was a lifeguard for 7 years, taught swim lessons for a long time. And one of the things we had to do is stay on the pool. And you had to learn how to drown out all the other distractions and drown out the moms talking over here or getting distracted by watching some kid do some really weird thing with a pool toy, whatever it was. And you had to stand and count. And so practicing mindfulness during that and just doing that. And so this idea of paying more attention, but it's also about an internal attention. It's about paying attention, being aware, becoming mindful of your thoughts. Thoughts can be scary, they can be overwhelming, they can be joyous, they can be on repeat, where it's like 928 times you've thought about the same thing. Here's a fun fact for you. Only 10% of your thoughts that you think during the day are new thoughts. Just 10%. Think about that. 10% of what you think about during the day is new. That means that 90% of your thoughts, 90%, if you're up for 10 hours, 9 hours out of those 10 hours are repeat. The rewind, repeat, the loop has just been going over and over and over again. It's no wonder we are so stressed, so anxious, depressed, unsure, angry, because we just keep replaying things in our head over and over and over and over again. Now, that being said, there are some things that are good to be on repeat. Positive things to think about, positive affirmations, things like that. Like those are great. Telling yourself you're good enough, whatever it is. Remembering happy memories, but that can also limit you. When we can step back from our thoughts, from this idea of what we're looking at, then we don't take them so literally. And our stress response is not the first thing initiated. So you may have heard of, fight or flight or freeze. That response, that sympathetic nervous system response, like a lion is chasing us, except we aren't chased by lions anymore. Our brains have actually confused what's real fear and real stress and real danger and what is not. And so we're using those responses constantly, which is not healthy for our body either. So that step back moment, which during my day, I actually call time out on myself and I try to step out of whatever my mind is whirling around in, whatever scenario my mind is made up in my head that isn't real. And I wish I could remember the statistic, but there's research proving that when your brain thinks about memories, you actually change the narrative of the memory, that there's only a small portion of your memories that are actually true. And I don't mean that your memories are a lie, but what I mean is your brain slightly alters them over time to fit the narrative of your emotions and where you are in life and what you need to hear or say or think or do, which I thought was pretty fascinating. So becoming more aware of our thoughts. How can you do that today? I want to challenge you to simply take, set 5 minutes on your phone. Get out your phone. We all have an alarm clock. We all have a timer. Set that timer for 5 minutes. You can do this while you're driving. You can do this while you're showering. You can do this while you're cooking, whenever it is. And just be aware. Just be aware of what flows through your mind. This isn't about judgment. This isn't about saying this is good or bad, wrong or right. I shouldn't think that, whatever it is. This is like you with your thoughts on a riverbank, and you're standing on the bank of the river. And you don't get to get out the fishing pole and reach for it. You don't get to swim in after them. You just watch them as they pass, and until they're over the horizon or down over the waterfall or whatever it is, and then you watch them again. It could be the same thought 100 times. It could be a flood of thoughts. It could be barely anything. And the opportunity there is for you to create separation. Because I have a feeling, based on my own experiences and the hundreds and hundreds of people I've worked with, because we all need this, that more than changing your life is probably essential in some capacity, but we can't do that until we change our thoughts about our life and how attached we are to those thoughts. So it's just about creating space, an arm's length space. Let's use the 6-foot rule for something that actually makes sense. Keep 6-foot distance between you and your thoughts. They can be there. It's like being in New York on the sidewalk, and there is a ton of people, noise, busyness, everything going on around you. And I have this image stuck in my head of when I was in New York, and my husband and I were there after we lost our daughter for our first anniversary. We're like, let's go do something that we haven't done before. And so we went to New York. And I have this image that on the corner in Central Square, just standing there and looking around at everyone. And there was a brief moment where I felt like I was like almost in a snow globe, where I was like detached from everything. And I was just observing. And it was a really serene, calm, exciting feeling, because I was observing, but I wasn't getting kind of like, provoked. You know, people get really anxious over stuff because they're so in it. I had the 6-foot rule. And so can you practice that today? Just 5 minutes, set a timer. I challenge you. This is a challenge. Just 5 minutes. Let your thoughts be your thoughts. Let your feelings be your feelings. Let your awareness be your awareness, and just notice. The challenge there is most of us want to step in and analyze. We want to step in and judge. We want to step in and criticize, like, that was dumb. This is good. Don't do that. You should have been better here. Nothing's ever going to change. It's never going to get better. I'm hopeless. Whatever it is. whatever the scenario or the thing that you say to yourself. That space, for those of you that have anxiety, is the difference between being in the anxiety and stepping out of it. That's it. And so, hey, good morning, Travis. Hey, Alan, good morning. Great to see you guys. How can we continue to move forward on this mindful journey? What if today, tomorrow, today would probably be better, right? Why wait till tomorrow? We don't immediately react to a situation. Now, total confession. I am a recovering volcano of massive, explosive emotion. Someone would say something to me and I would just, and it usually had nothing to do with that situation, but I was like building it up, and just, and I had to relearn how to act and react. I had to relearn how to approach things that were both comfortable and uncomfortable. I had to relearn how to pause and then act. So that 6-foot rule, we just want a little pause in there before you reach out and go to whatever it is you're going to go to. This idea of not reacting immediately, this idea of just having a moment of pause, to use your wise mind instead of your reactionary mind, instead of your impulsive mind, instead of your worldly mind, whatever you want to call it, to hopefully then step into the situation with our best foot forward. I have to be honest with you. So I am a seize the moment kind of person. It's like, if I know I want to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to jump and figure it out later. Now, that has come back to bite me in the butt many times. And when it comes to stepping into things with my best foot forward, 99.9% of the time, it has always helped me to just go, Hope, let's just think about that for a brief moment, then respond. Where my husband, sorry, Brian, is on the complete other end. He's like, let's think about it for 5 days and then say no. Let's think about it forever and then maybe not quite do anything right now. And now that's not to say he never reacts or responds accordingly, because he does. But my point is that we're on two very different ends of the spectrum. And I've learned a lot from him because he is so calm and so consistent and doesn't get provoked like I do, to have that wise mind, to say, let me think about that. Let me get back to you. Do I need to respond to this? Facebook is a great example. I will type things and then go, is this helping or hurting? What do I gain from this? Is this really a wise mind conversation or response? And then I usually hit delete. I give space to the situation. I give space so that I don't just immediately react. There is a difference between acting on something and reacting on something. Think about that. When we react, it's based on usually an involuntary response. Something within us is triggered and we just kind of go on autopilot and just do whatever. Now, if there's a bear chasing you or your kid is stuck under a car and you need to respond immediately and get that sympathetic nervous system going, that fight, flight, or freeze, and that's when, a 110-pound woman picks up a car to save somebody, that's a good thing. You should react. But most of the time, what most of us need is to learn how to better act. 6-foot rule, wise mind. When we do that, we become more mindful. We become more aware. I've never met anybody that is aware of their surroundings and they use these things appropriately and it's been a bad thing. Maybe I just have a different mentality on those things, but I mean, there's so many things in life that we can't control. But there are so many things, so much of life that we get to choose how to respond to. I didn't say control. I said choose how to respond. That, I mean, I get in these modes where I make the mistake and I have like a line with politics where it's like, I need to be knowledgeable and understand enough. Like we have all these riots going on in Kenosha and all this other stuff in my area. And it's like, I want to be aware of this because ignorance is not bliss. But I know my line. I know my 6-foot rule. I know my wise mind. I know my space I need, my gap. So I don't just react to things, that I act mindfully. Mindfulness switches your being mode, being mind. So we go into the being present mind and away from the doing mind. Doers tend to be more in that stress response, that sympathetic nervous system, that where they're just like, oh. They're the people that say, I have no time and it's not fair and your life is so much easier than my, like that. That's usually the doers. There's a saying, you don't do yoga, you are yoga. Yoga isn't about doing, it's about being. And to me, yoga is like 1% poses, asana, 1%, probably even less than that. And it's 99% what you do with that practice off the mat. This is why yoga's changed my life so dramatically. 1% poses. So I don't understand what the fear of yoga is for so many people. Like they're worried about it. It's 1% poses. So if you scroll Instagram and you see all these fancy poses of people at like a 1%, that's not what yoga is. It's 99% what you take off the mat into your everyday life. How do we switch from the doing mode to the being mode? This is where mindfulness comes in. Like, make mindfulness no longer this weird out of reach term. Make mindfulness less of a cliche. Please help me. Make mindfulness be like, let's review the 6-foot rule. Give me space so that instead of reacting, I act or I respond appropriately. We switch into that wise mind, helping us pause. And then we switch from the doing mode into the being mode, where we shift ourselves and see things in a new light. It's like the sunrise I was talking about. It's just a different lane. But that ability to do that, even when life feels like a shitstorm, even when life feels like a tsunami, we still have these things in place. This is the difference between why certain people are able to rise above things despite their odds. These success stories that we feel are like so out of the norm because they were able to do all of these things. This is when you see huge weight loss transformations. This is when you see people come out of the depths of nothingness, poverty, homelessness, whatever it was, and rise up to be running these amazing companies. It's not just because of luck. I really believe that now in my heart of heart. It's not just because of luck. It's because they were able to do all of these things despite the circumstances. They aren't reacting to everything. They're not caught in the cycle. You don't have to be caught in the cycle. I have on my bulletin board, I look at it every single day, and it's just written on a scratch piece of paper that I cut off from something. It says 90% of business problems are personal problems in disguise. And although you may not have a business, I have that up there to remind me that when I start blaming, when I start thinking, oh, this isn't fair, or this is too hard, or it's never going to work, I step back and ask myself a deeper question. What part of me is kind of pivoting this a certain direction? Or how can I change to better influence my results? This is just a practice that I go through. But this is why I tell people, like, I take no offense to anything anymore. Like life is a humbling experience, and then it's what you do with that and rise above it. And I just refuse to stay down here anymore. It's a cycle I don't want to be in, and I don't want anyone else to be in. And that's why I'm talking to you. And maybe you're like, okay, I don't want to listen to this anymore. And that's fine. But I know someone out there does. I know someone out there feels the way that I have felt, and so many other people that I've worked with have felt. And it isn't an end game. Like, it isn't the end for you. I believe that if you're here on this earth and you have breath in your body, there's still purpose for you. I have to believe that. And I've seen way too many people die randomly and for no other reason that I can understand in my life other than they fulfilled their life's purpose. And it's what I do with that. It's what I do with that understanding and creating awareness around that I can rise above too, that I can take that and it be a tool for me and it helped me grow. And so when we switch from doing mode into being mode, how do we do that? Doing mode is like, I got to get it done. I got to get my papers and I got to check off my to-do list. Like, it's this obsession with working, with doing, with being busy, that somehow then that equates to being more successful or more productive or whatever it is. And yes, you should do things in life. You shouldn't just sit on a yoga mat or on the corner of your bed and watch life go by around you. Like, that's not how we also are present and move forward. But the tasks that you're checking off, the things that you know you need to do, regardless of if you like them or not. I mean, there's a lot of things that I do that I don't like, that I think are dumb, that I wish I didn't have to do, that I'm so sick of. But it's the season of my life that I'm in. Until something else changes, until I change something else, or something shifts, this is my reality. This is what's in front of me. And so to go from doing to being simply means we practice the art of being mindful. We are in what we're doing. We're present. We're aware. When you're driving, just drive. When you're talking on the phone, actually be in the conversation. When you're eating your food, actually eat your food. There is research and studies that have already proved that people, when they cook and they're thinking about love and compassion and how great this food is and how it's going to nourish that person's body, the food tastes better. Equally as much, there has been research and studies to prove that when people eat their food and they're actually paying attention to what they're eating and they're thinking about how it's nourishing their body, it actually is more beneficial for the person health-wise than it is otherwise. Think about those things. Those are just a couple of examples. So when we switch from doing mode into being mode, we then also become more aware and sensitive to the people around us. There's that fancy word, compassion. I used to confuse empathy and sympathy. Sympathy, we feel sorry for people and we get overly involved with what they're going through. Empathy means that we feel for them. We have compassion for them. It doesn't mean that we step into their emotions. It doesn't mean that we try to fix them. I didn't realize this until I had to go through that in my own life and identify the difference between the two. That I also cannot necessarily like somebody and I can still have empathy for them. I cannot whatever, but I can still have empathy. And so practicing those things, being aware and sensitive to someone else's emotions and feelings and not becoming that person. 6-foot rule, wise mind, being versus doing, and being more aware, more sensitive, more in touch. When you do this, your emotional intellect rises. We call it intuition. Those people are pretty damn savvy. When you're just a little bit more in touch with the world, when you're just a little bit more aware, you also are less in conflict. You know, those people that just like feed off of conflict, they feed off of getting a rise out of other people. Maybe they need to listen to this. I was that person. I was that person. It's like poke, poke, poke. But there came a point where that just didn't get me anywhere. When we switch our attitude, when we have the 6-foot rule, when we use our wise mind, when we become more aware without like going in and grabbing that idea of empathy versus sympathy, we start to switch. We start to switch our attitude to the stress. We start to shift our stress response. This is a game changer, you guys. Like, we start to change how it is we respond to what's going around us. And we all can agree on one thing. There is a lot going on around us on a global level, on a countrywide level, on a state level, on a community level, within our family unit, within our own selves. There's so much. And having this space allows me to not be emotionally triggered by other people. It allows me to keep a state, keep like a homeostasis state, keep this place where I can get in the zone and I can get in the flow despite what's going on around me. You can do that too. Like today, you can get out of that space you're in, switch into the being mode, decide you've had enough, decide you're going to be more aware, keep the 6-foot rule, and say enough is enough. And when we do this, we shift our perspective. But when we practice mindfulness also, we activate, or I should say we reduce the activity in the part of the brain called the amygdala. And this is our central switching stress response. And this lowers our level of stress. So think fight, flight, or freeze, sympathetic nervous system. When we're over here all the time, the amygdala goes up. We're overusing that zone. When we use mindfulness, we use these practices, that response goes down. And our body stops acting like we're a war zone. Our body stops holding on to everything, be it weight, be it our systems in our body aren't working optimally because we have all of our energy over somewhere else. It's like a tactical setup for the military. If we're always over here, because this is the red zone, it's like, ooh, ooh, ooh. There's nobody over here. How can these systems function optimally? How can we see things clearly when we're always over here? 6-foot rule. Wise mind. Doing versus being. Being emotionally in touch. Empathy versus sympathy, even within ourselves. And switching that stress response dial. Not only will you feel better and see the world a little bit differently, see yourself a little bit differently. If you're a workout buff, you're going to have better workouts, more energy. You're going to sleep better. Like, you guys, sleep. This is something that you can fix. You can change your relationship with food. So many things come from this. I'm so sick of quick fixes or empty promises. Do this, do that. You're going to have, and it's like, we got to build a foundation first. We got to build a foundation first. And then from there, decide what the siding color on our house will be, or the decorations in our house, or the layout even of each room. If we don't first have a foundation built, heck, the roof. These are things that you guys can do today. And it doesn't matter if you're a mother, you're a trucker, or you're a yoga student. These are all things that you can do because you deserve to feel better. You deserve to feel better no matter where you live. You deserve to feel better no matter what your background, your history, or your pre-existing conditions are. You deserve to feel better because you're worth it. You deserve to feel better. And this is just one way to do that. So, all right, guys, that's what I got for you today. And that was 43 minutes of conversation. I hope that this was helpful. I mean, I come on these shows for a couple of reasons. One, because I want to share. and I want to help people, and I don't want anyone to ever go through what I went through and the challenges and the struggles that I've had. But two, anything I share with you, I know works. I know works because I've experienced it in my own life, and I've worked with hundreds and thousands of people over the last 20 years doing these very things. This isn't just something you found off the internet. This isn't just some new fitness fad. This is stuff that you can apply instantly, right from the cab of your truck. It requires zero equipment, just you and this, and that's it. So I want to thank Chrome and Steel Radio for allowing me the opportunity to be on here every Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Central Time. If you have a topic that you would like me to talk about, if you would like to be a guest on the show, you know a guest that I should have on the show, hit me up and let me know. You can message us at Chrome and Steel Radio right here on Facebook. You can send me an email, or you can hit me up anywhere that you can find me. Big thanks to Davey Crockett, TA Petro in Greenville, Tennessee. They not only are Chrome and Steel sponsor, but they also sell Stiff Mother Trucker Pain Relief Cream. And this is what I need from you guys. I need you guys to go there, buy my cream, say thank you to them, let them know that you appreciate it, buy some Bill Weaver gear, buy some CDs, grab a bite to eat, like such a cool place. Huge thank you to them because they're our sponsor here at Chrome and Steel Radio, a Daily Dose of Hope show, but they are also selling our Stiff Mother Trucker Pain Relief Cream. Also, a huge shout out to Bud and Tony's Truck Parts. They are a Mother Trucker Yoga sponsor. And so you can check us out at mothertruckeryoga.com. You can check out Bud and Tony's Truck Parts and let them know Hope sent you. Amazing gear, amazing opportunities, hundreds of thousands of opportunities for you to deck out your rig and get everything that you need. Check them out. A huge thank you to them. Tony, you're amazing. I love working with you. So you'll be seeing more of them over at mothertruckeryoga.com. If you'd like to be a sponsor for Chrome and Steel Radio, like I said, a guest, or you have someone or something that you'd like us to share or talk about, please hit us up and let us know. Most importantly, we want you to feel better wherever you are. We want you to feel better wherever you are. And I believe Mother Trucker Yoga here and Chrome and Steel Radio believe it's about the small, simple changes that you make and apply them every day that are going to leave you with the biggest results. Until next time, be safe out there. And most importantly, share out this broadcast because it's people like you sharing this out, letting everybody else know that's going to help us be able to better change the world. Bye, my friends.